A sealed envelope marked confidential arrived at the fourth-floor filing desk of a Washington, D.C. federal courthouse at 9:15 inches the morning. Inside were 68 pages, and those 68 pages contained something explosive, the FBI director's own words used against him. Brian Driscoll spent 25 years inside the FBI. He earned the Medal of Valor. He had the respect of the entire agency. When he placed that file on the desk, he knew exactly what it meant. He believed it would unravel everything Kash Patel had built in his 6 months as director. No speculation, no anonymous tips, just Patel's own statements, captured word for word across 68 pages. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to reveal something from inside that file that hasn't been reported anywhere else. When word got out that the filing had hit court records, Patel's Washington office meeting came to a sudden stop. His assistant walked in and handed him a note. He read it. His face changed. His jaw tightened. His hands pressed into the edge of the table. Everyone in the room could tell whatever was in that note was serious. Patel is someone who rarely shows his cards. But this time, there was nothing to hide behind. What was in that file cut straight to the core of everything he had publicly denied. His own words, spoken in private, behind a closed door, and Driscoll had held onto every single one of them. You'll find out exactly what was said in that room. But first, let me explain how all of this came together. Late August 2025, one of my sources contacted me. Short message, just a few words. Driscoll is ready to talk, and he has something. I didn't push for details. That's not how this works. The source controls what comes out and when, so I waited. 3 days later, a package came through a private channel. Inside were handwritten notes, specific dates, and a recorded transcript of a meeting. I checked the metadata. The timeline held up. I cross-referenced the content against public records. Every single line matched. That same night, I could tell other outlets were circling Reuters, NBC, The Washington Post. Their reporters were quietly reaching out to sources. But the one person who knew the full contents of that file wasn't going to say a word publicly until September 2025. To understand why that matters, you have to go back a little further. Trump's second term, February 2025, the Senate confirmed Kash Patel as FBI director by a vote of 51 to 49, the narrowest confirmation margin in the history of the position. Patel stepped to the podium, raised his right hand, and took the oath. His first public statement was direct. I am not partisan. No one will be punished for political reasons. The press wrote it down. Democrats were skeptical. Republicans applauded. But something was already happening backstage that no one in the room could see. Before Inauguration Day, the White House transition team had been holding private one-on-one meetings with senior FBI officials. The questions in those meetings weren't about qualifications or priorities. They were focused on one thing. Did you work on Trump-related investigations? Were you involved in January 6? Did you participate in the Mar-a-Lago search? Anyone who said yes was added to a list. That list went to the White House. Then it landed on Patel's desk. Official sources never confirmed this. But my people inside did. And months later, that entire process became the foundation of a 8-page federal lawsuit. August 2025. FBI headquarters, Patel's office. Driscoll arrived with two former colleagues, two agents, waiting outside in the hallway. When his name was called, he went in alone. The door shut behind him. Patel was already seated. Two attorneys sat beside him. On the table, a notebook and a thick black binder. Now pause here for a second. Brian Driscoll isn't someone who rattles easily. Over 25 years, he dismantled drug trafficking networks. He brought down organized crime operations. He ran interrogations under extreme pressure for thousands of hours. He served as deputy director. He's the kind of person who has seen everything, The man sitting across from him had just cleared a Senate hearing by a single vote. Patel leaned forward across the table and looked directly at Driscoll. Then he said it. My superiors told me to fire everyone who worked on investigations connected to Trump. I can't stop it. To protect my own position, I have to let you go too. Driscoll said nothing, because the man speaking those words had stood in front of the country for months and promised that no one would be removed for political retaliation. And here he was, behind a closed door, saying the exact opposite. That moment became the opening sentence of a federal court document. The meeting lasted approximately 14 minutes, Director Patel said. And Driscoll wasn't the only one. The file built it out, page by page. First document. March 2025, New York. The head of the New York field office, James Dana, received a call from FBI headquarters. The instruction was clear: compile and hand over a list of every agent who worked on January 6 cases. Dana refused. Within 48 hours, he was gone. No public statement, no explanation, just a call. Your assignment is over. Second document. April through July 2025. 4 cities. The Atlanta field office director was brought in and sent home. New York's acting director was pushed out after a warning. 6 Miami agents were pulled from duty in a single week. Names disappeared from New Orleans. Every single one of them had some connection, direct or indirect, to the Mar-a-Lago search. An NBC News reporter wrote in August 2025 that nothing like this had ever been seen inside the FBI. A purge, this systematic and this widespread, simply had no precedent. But the most striking piece came in the third document. Third document. August 2025. One single day. Brian Driscoll, Stephen Jensen, Spencer Evans. Between them, 60 years of FBI experience. All 3 were removed on the same day, at the same hour. Jensen had been tied to January 6 cases, and MAGA-aligned accounts had been targeting him online for months. Patel and his aide Dan Benino had reportedly said to each other, "We're burning too much political capital defending Jensen." They folded under social media pressure. Jensen was out. Evans had managed the Human Resources Division during the COVID period. A former fired agent had gone after him publicly. Messages flooded Benino's inbox. Within 72 hours, Evans was done. Driscoll's situation was different. Before Patel ever took the director's seat, Driscoll had stood in the way of a plan to remove thousands of FBI agents in bulk. That move had rattled the White House. Patel hadn't moved past it, and in that closed-door meeting, he reportedly made it personal. He said Driscoll had tried to put the FBI director in a corner, and he hadn't forgotten it. Page 34 of the file listed 31 additional names beyond those 3. In total, 34 FBI executives and senior agents, all removed, all for the same underlying reason. I want to stop here for just a moment. If you've made it this far, you already understand what this is. This isn't partisan back and forth. This is the documented story of how 34 careers were methodically dismantled, captured in federal court records. If you want this information to reach more people, hit the like button. The algorithm responds to engagement. More likes means more reach means more pressure, and more pressure means more accountability. That part is genuinely in your hands. Also drop a comment. There's a list of 34 names in that court file. Who do you think put it together? I'm still working on that answer. But the final pages of the file contain coded markings that may point toward it. Let's keep going. September 2025, Federal Courthouse, Washington, D.C. Attorney Mark Zaid took the stand holding that black binder, all 68 pages. He set it on the table, looked at the judge, and said plainly, Kash Patel lied under oath during his Senate confirmation hearing. The room erupted. Reporters typed fast. Cameras shifted. Zaid kept going. Either he misled that hearing, or he is now admitting he followed directives from Bondi and the White House to carry out unlawful orders. Neither is acceptable. Both are federal offenses. He opened the file, turned to page 23. Read aloud. Director Patel said during the meeting, "My superiors ordered me to fire everyone who worked on the Trump investigations. To protect my own job, I have to end yours." The room went still. Zaid moved to page 41. He pressed his finger to a signature on the page. Director Patel's signature is right here. This is the administrative document showing that the removal list was approved by Patel himself. This was not an allegation. The document was already in the court record. The signature was real. A Democratic member of the Senate Judiciary Committee immediately went on record. Patel lied under oath. This is a textbook case of perjury. CNN's legal team went on air. This statement directly contradicts Patel's no retaliation pledge from his confirmation hearing. In federal court, that kind of contradiction carries serious consequences, starting with removal from office. Patel's legal team sat at the table, silent. The judge asked his lead attorney whether Patel wished to respond to the document. The attorney stood, said one sentence. "My client prefers to exercise his constitutional rights at this stage." Fifth Amendment, right to remain silent. The room went quiet again. Zaid turned slowly toward the press gallery, stepped to the microphone. "An innocent person responds to accusations. A guilty person chooses silence. My client Brian Driscoll is in this room today. He answered everything openly. The other side is choosing their rights." He paused, then added, "There's a principle in law that an unanswered claim carries more weight than a disputed one." November 2025. The FBI Agents Association put out a formal statement. 3 words. He broke the law. They went further. Patel had created chaos. He had launched a campaign of arbitrary retaliation. His management style had made the American public less safe. Around the same time, a confidential assessment written by both active and retired FBI agents was leaked. 2 words stood out. Rudderless ship. Patel didn't respond. Silence. Again. But the file still left questions open, because on the final 8 pages, next to certain names, there were letters, codes, and what those codes mean has not been made public. Code W appeared next to 12 names. My sources say it stands for White House Connected Protection. Those individuals weren't fired. They were transferred. Where? Exactly unknown. Code B appeared next to 9 names. Based on what I've been told, it stands for a Bondi office referral, meaning the Department of Justice may have been actively involved in these decisions. Code T appeared next to just 3 names, and even my sources aren't entirely sure who those names are. Federal prosecutors are working to decode them now. If they succeed, if the people behind W, B, and T are brought into a courtroom, this case extends well past Kash Patel. Zaid said it plainly. My client knows every meeting, every phone call, every order that was given. What Patel said is only the opening chapter. The second part is much heavier. When does the second part surface? The February 2026 hearing will answer that. Here's what is already confirmed. Not theory, not speculation, but facts that exist inside federal court records. Fact 1. Kash Patel swore under oath that no one would be fired for political retribution. He then said the exact opposite to Brian Driscoll in a private meeting. That contradiction is recorded verbatim in a 6-8-page court filing. Fact 2. Between March and August 2025, 34 FBI leaders and senior agents were removed from New York, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, and Washington. Their shared connection: Trump-related investigations. An administrative document bearing Patel's signature approved the list. Fact 3. When confronted with that document in court, Patel's attorneys invoked the Fifth Amendment. No denial, just silence. Fact 4. The FBI Agents Association officially declared that the American people are now less safe. A leaked internal report described the agency as a rudderless ship. Fact 5. According to attorney Mark Zaid, the 6-8-page file is only the beginning. 24 additional names are coded inside that document connected to the White House, the Department of Justice, and a third source that has not yet been identified. Tomorrow, I'll be posting the first materials connected to the February 2026 hearing on this channel, the full transcript of Driscoll's testimony, the administrative document with Patel's signature, and everything I've gathered about the identities behind the W, B, and T codes. If you're not subscribed yet, do it now. Hit the bell. Because this case is nowhere near finished. 68 pages. First chapter. The second part is coming.